Most people think network defense is one job: keep the attackers out. Build a high enough wall, bolt the gate, and you are safe. The exam is designed to punish that idea. In the next few minutes, you will learn the handful of defenses, domain 4 tests, how to tell the two most confused ones apart on site, and a mindset that assumes the wall has already been breached. This is Objective 4.3, and it shows up on almost every paper. Here is the open loop. The most important defense on this whole list does not try to keep anyone out at all. Let us start where every network starts, at the front door. A firewall is a bouncer with a rulebook. Every packet that wants in or out has to match a rule. This address, that port, this protocol, allowed or denied. Remember port 443 and port 22 from last lesson? The firewall is what decides whether traffic on those ports gets through. No matching rule, no entry. That is the whole idea. A firewall filters traffic against a set of rules, but a bouncer only checks people at the door. What about trouble that is already inside? That is where our two most confused devices come in, and the exam mixes them up on purpose. Meet the IDS and the IPS. Both watch traffic for attacks. The difference is one word: what they do when they spot one. An IDS, an intrusion detection system, is a smoke alarm. It sees the danger and it screams, but it does not put the fire out. It detects and it alerts. An IPS, an intrusion prevention system, is a sprinkler. It sees the danger and it acts, dropping the malicious traffic on the spot. So here is your anchor. The IDS is a smoke alarm. The IPS is a sprinkler. One tells you, one stops it. Notice the trade-off. The sprinkler is powerful, but if it triggers on the wrong thing, it soaks good traffic and takes availability down with it. Remember the CIA triad. A badly tuned IPS can hurt availability all by itself. Time for a quick exam check. A security team wants a device that will detect malicious traffic and automatically block it before it reaches the servers. Which should they deploy? A, an IDS. B, an IPS. C, a VPN. D, a firewall configured to default allow. Pause the video and pick your answer. Ready? The answer is B, an IPS. Here's why. The key words are automatically block. Only the prevention system, the sprinkler, acts to stop the traffic. A is out because an IDS only detects and alerts. It never blocks. C is out. A VPN encrypts a connection. It does not inspect for attacks. And D is wrong twice over. Default allow is the opposite of what you want. And a basic firewall does not analyze traffic for attack patterns. Now, back to trouble on the inside. If an attacker does get a foothold, how do you stop them wandering the whole network? You divide it up. Segmentation splits one big network into smaller isolated zones, and a VLAN is a common way to do it. Think of watertight compartments in a ship. One compartment floods, the others stay dry, and the ship stays up. Same idea. Breach one segment, and the attacker is boxed in, unable to move sideways to everything else. One special zone has its own name. The DMZ is the hotel lobby of your network. It is a buffer zone where you put the servers the public must reach, like your web server, so outsiders can come into the lobby without ever walking into the guest rooms where your internal systems live. Quick recap so far. Firewall filters at the border. IDS alerts, IPS blocks. Segmentation and the DMZ keep a breach from spreading. Two more tools. A VPN, a virtual private network, is an armored tunnel through a public road. Your data still travels the open internet, but it is encrypted inside the tunnel, so a remote worker can reach the office network safely. And Network Access Control, NAC, is the bouncer that checks more than a name. It checks the health of a device, patched, compliant, trusted, before it is allowed to join the network at all. Now let us close that open loop. Stack all of this together, and you get defense in depth. No single wall is enough, so you layer them. Firewall, then segmentation, then IPS, then access control. Here is the anchor to keep. Layers like an onion, an attacker has to cry through every one. But even layers still assume that once you are inside, you are trusted. That is exactly the assumption that fails. Enter Zero Trust, the defense I promise that doesn't try to keep anyone out. Its motto is never trust, always verify. Every request, inside the network or outside, must prove itself every time. There is no trusted interior. The wall is assumed already breached, so nothing gets a free pass. One last piece, because so much now lives in the cloud. The cloud shared responsibility model splits the work. The provider secures the cloud itself. You secure what you put in it. How much you own depends on the service. With infrastructure as a service, you manage most of it. With platform as a service, you manage less. With software as a service, you mostly just manage your data and who can see it. The provider never secures your part for you. Let us pull Domain 4's defenses together, checklist style. A firewall filters by rules. An IDS detects and alerts. An IPS detects and blocks. Segmentation and a DMZ contain a breach. A VPN encrypts remote access. NAC vets devices before they join. Defense in depth layers it all, and Zero Trust says never trust, always verify. In the cloud, the provider secures the cloud, you secure what is in it. Remember the myth we opened with? That defense means keeping attackers out? Now you know the real answer. You layer your defenses, and you assume the breach. If that clicked, subscribe, because the whole CC course is landing in pass order. And to drill firewall, IDS versus IPS, and Zero Trust questions until they are automatic, head to certcrush.app, where the CC question bank is waiting. That wraps Domain 4. Next up, Domain 5, Security Operations, where we start with the one thing that protects your data, whether it is stored, moving, or in use: encryption.